in the different parts of milling machines and associated movement of table, table, saddle, and knee. Okay, now switch over our topic from that parts and movement from the milling machine to the milling cutters. As you know that the unwanted metal from the workpiece can be removed with help of the feed motion of workpiece and cutting motion of cutters. So once the cutter and workpiece will met together, then your unwanted metal will be removed. In whether the machine is horizontal milling machines or vertical milling machines. So here, in context to lathe machines, there would always single point cutting tool is used, while in milling machines, always multi-point cutter are used. It is called multi-point cutter in milling machine because the cutter having the multiple teeth. That's why it is known as multi-point cutter. Now cutters are usually classified according to their general shape or the way they are mounted. As we have seen in the previous video that your cutters can be mounted on the arbor in horizontal milling machines. And some different cutters are mounted on the vertical milling machine with the another manner. So you can classify the different cutters according to that general shape or the way they are mounted. So we can classify cutters as arbor cutter. So what are that? These cutters have, just a minute. These cutters have a hole in the center for mounting on the arbor. Okay. So because of that cutter mounted on the arbor, that's why it is generally known as arbor cutters. Another type of cutter is shank or end cutters. So these cutters have either a straight or tapered shank integral with the body of cutter. Okay, so it is a very small cutter, or it is looks like a pen type cutter. Okay, so that can be fitted on the generally vertical milling machines. An arbor type cutter can be generally mounted on the horizontal milling machines, because in horizontal milling machine arbor is there. So that type of cutter can be fitted into the arbor. That's why it is known as arbor cutter. And shank or end type of cutter, it is resemble with the pen. Your ballpoint pen is there, so that it resembles the pen, and that small end cutter or shank cutter can be mounted on the vertical, generally on the vertical milling machines. And these cutters have the either straight or tapered shank integral with the body of cutter. Okay, it is looks like, just a minute, I'm going to just, okay, this shank or end cutter will look like this. Okay, this is the end, and here some teeth are there. Okay, it is resemble with the pen. Okay, this is a straight line. Here with mouse it is difficult to draw it, but it is like this. And on sometimes on the periphery also there are some teeth. Okay, in sometimes only at the end there are some teeth. Okay, so this is nothing but a end or shank cutter. And arbor cutter is what? Suppose this is arbor. Okay. Okay, and on the arbor the cutter is mounted like this. Okay, and here suppose teeth on its periphery. Okay, so this type of cutter is known as arbor cutter. Okay, generally it is looks like this. it is cylindrical, and on this face the teeth are there like this. Okay, and on the center side there are hole, and here keyway hole. Okay, so this cutter can be mounted on the arbor. So this is the arbor cutter, and this type of cutter is known as shank or end cutters. These are mounted in the spindle end. Just a minute. These are mounted in the spindle end, means this type of cutter. Now third one is face cutter. So these are bolted or held on the end of short arbors and are generally used for plain surface. Okay, so these are the different types of cutter. Through this cutter, you can generally remove the metal on the plain surfaces. So arbor cutter, shank cutter or end cutter, and face cutter. Another is metal slitting cutter or metal slitting show, angle milling cutter, form milling cutter, T-slot cutter, inserted tooth cutter. Okay, now see in the screen, there are the different types of cutter is there. As I told you that end milling cutter is there. So this is a pen type. See, this is a end cutter. All this one. This is called dovetail mill cutter, and this is end mill. Okay, this is both side end mill cutter, and this is the for fluted end cutter. Means there are four flute like this here. Okay, so this is the milling cutter, but end milling. So end milling is looks like a resemble with your pen, and this type of cutter is known as arbor cutter. Okay, so on the periphery there are different. Here this is the cutting point. So number of cutting point are there. That's why it is called multi-point cutter. And on the center side there are a hole. So with help of this hole, this cutter can be fitted on the arbor. That's why it is known as arbor cutter. This is also end mill cutter. See, on the end side there are the four cutting point are there, and with help of this different cutting point you can remove the metal. Okay, this is called plain milling cutter. Plain milling cutter. This is also called plain milling cutter. This is also a cutter with a twisted edge. Okay, so this is called T-slot cutter. Okay, so T-slot can be formed with the help of this type of cutter. This is also end mill cutter with a ball end. See here there are some curvature shape at the end of end mill. So it is called ball end mill, and here there is a flat end. So this is simple end mill, and this is ball end mill. Okay. Now here also more cutter images are there. So number 1A, this one is called spiral end mill. B, this is called T-slot. See, B, T-slot milling cutter. This is T-slot milling cutter. See, this is a plain cutter with helical teeth. This is a plain cutter. Okay, and it can be fitted on the arbor in a horizontal milling machines. And here helical teeth are there. That's why it is known as plain cutter with helical teeth. Then this is the angle milling cutter. Okay, so in angular direction you can move your you can cut your metal. So it is called angular milling cutter. Then this is called Woodruff key seed cutter. Okay, with help of this cutter you can create a sheet for the Woodruff key on any of the shaft. Okay. Suppose if you want to mount any cutter on the arbor or shaft, you can fix your cutter on the arbor or the shaft with help of key, and that key can be fitted on the shaft. Okay, so on the shaft, if you want to make a recess or make a slot for mounting the cutter, okay, so that recess can be created with help of this cutter. That's why it is called that Woodruff key seat cutter. Then plain milling cutter. This is called plain milling cutter. This is also mounted on the arbor. Then inserted tooth cutter. This is called inserted tooth cutter. This is called side mill cutter. Here, see, this is called plain mill cutter. If only the edges or cutting edge are on the periphery, that is called plain milling cutter. But the cutting edges are on the side also, then it is called side milling cutter. So from this side and back side also, the cutting edge are there. So with help of that cutting edge, from both the side of the cutter, metal will be removed. With help of this side, here, see, this is the side. So it may be possible whether the cutting edge on the one side or on the both side. Okay, so this is side milling cutter. Then this is called metal slitting cutter. So with the help of this slitting cutter, you can just divide your part into two sections, or you can create a very small slice on the workpiece also. So it is called metal slitting or slitting cutter or metal slitting show. This is called form relieved cutter for gear teeth. Okay, this is called form cutter. So with help of this form cutter, you can create a teeth on a gear blank. Okay, number of forms cutter are available as per your requirement. Okay, this is spiral double end mill. Why it is double end? Because in one end there is a teeth, on the another end there is a teeth. So on both the end of this cutter, the teeth are available to remove the metal. So this is called spiral double end mill. Then extra long spiral end mill. This is the extra long spiral end mill. Clear? So these are the different types of cutter available as per your requirement. You can use any type of cutter for your workpiece. Okay, and these are used, suppose this type of peripheral or cylindrical cutters are used in the or mounted on the arbor, and this type of end mill will fix in the vertical milling machines. Sometimes you can use in the horizontal milling machine also with help of some attachment. Clear? So these are some cutters used in horizontal as well as vertical milling machine. Here also you can see the various types of angle cutters. It is a concave, convex, corner and gear cutters also. So this is a corner rounding cutter. This is a convex formed cutter. Okay, this is a convex form cutter, gear tooth cutter. In general, you can say that this is a profile cutter also. Here, single angle cutter, because single side angle is there, so it is called single angle cutter. Here, on the both the side angle is there, so it is called a double angle cutter. This is concave because of this shape, concave shape. It is called concave formed cutter. Okay, so in general, you can say that this is a form cutter. So form cutters are available in different types of shape and size. So as per your requirement of your job, you can use any one. Now, this is called two-lip end mill. Why? Because two-lip, because there is a one point cutting point and two cutting point. That's why two-lip end mill. Suppose there are four lip, four cutting edges are there. So it is known as four lip. Suppose 1, 2, here 3, and this side 4. So that is that end mill is known as four-leaf end mill. Okay, so end mill having the different types. So this is called shank. Here, in sometimes it is a straight shank, in sometimes it is a tapered shank. Okay, suppose here, see, this is a straight shank. Okay, this is a straight shank in Woodruff key slot end mill. This is end mill, this is end mill, because but in this end mill, straight shank is there, and here tapered shank is there. Clear? Now another one is, this is called T slot end mill. Why T slot? Because with help of this cutter you can make a T slot. Okay, generally T slots are available on the table. If you observe the table, as I shown you in the previous video, the table having the some slots, that slot are called the T slots, and because of that T slot you can mount your workpiece with the table with nut and bolt. That T type bolt can be fitted into that slot, and on the top side you can fix the bolt, and using that mechanism you can fix your workpiece on the table. Okay, so always in these type of milling machines you can observe that T slots are there on the table, and with help of this T slot you can fix your workpiece with the table. So this is called T slot end mill. This is called double end mill. Okay, means on the both the side of both the end of the this cutter there are certain teeth are there, or certain cutting point are there. That's why it is known as double end mill. This is called cell end mill, and this is again it is called Woodruff key slot end mill. Okay, this is T slot end mill, and this is Woodruff key slot end mill. So these are the various types of end mill. Here again various types of milling cutters. Slab mill. This is helical mill. This is a coarse tooth mill. This is a helical arbor type mill. Okay, means here both the side straight shank is available. So this particular shank can be inserted into the spindle, and this end will be fixed in the yoke. So this is called helical mill arbor type. Okay, means throughout this arbor, or in the some portion of arbor, there are teeth or helical teeth are available, and with help of this helical teeth you can remove the metal on the throughout the surface of your workpiece. Okay, so this is called helical mill arbor type cutter. This is staggered tooth mill. Here teeth are some staggered. Okay, so due to some staggering teeth, it is called staggered teeth tooth mill. This is side mill. As I told you, on the side there are cutting point or cutting edges are there. See, in this side cutting edges are there. On suppose another side also cutting edges are there, and with help of that side your metal can be removed. So that's why it is called side mill cutter. Next one is interlocking mill. Okay, this is interlocking mill. On the this side also some teeth, on another side also some different teeth are there. So because of that teeth on some different positions, you can remove the metal on the workpiece. And again, this is a metal slitting show or metal slitting cutter, and with help of this cutter you can remove the unwanted metal from the workpiece, or you can create a very small recess on the workpiece, or you can use metal slitting as a partition, or as a if you want to just convert your part into two pieces, then with help of this metal slitting cutter you can just split your workpiece into two parts. Again, these are some pictorial image of end mill and arbor type cutter. Clear? Now, this is Arbor installations. How can you install the Arbor? Because on the one end, Arbor having the taper sections. So that taper section can be inserted into the spindle. See here, this is the spindle, hollow spindle is there. Okay, and this is your Arbor. So one end of the Arbor is having the taper. So that taper section can be inserted into the spindle, and from opposite side of the spindle, one rod having the thread. So that thread can be fixed into that taper Arbor, and on the another side you can fix it with lock nut. Okay, so one side it is fitted. On the Arbor you can fix the cutter with various spacers. Here bearing bushes are there, and you can fix another end of the Arbor with help of yoke. Here yoke is there, and after yoke you can lock it with help of this lock nut. Here there are different taper available on the Arbor. It may be a standard taper like this. It may be a brown and shaper. This is the type of taper. Standard taper. It may be a brown and sharp taper. It may be a taper with tang. Here tang is there. Okay. So any type of means different types of Arbor is available, and you can fix your Arbor in this manner. You can just insert your Arbor into this hollow spindle. This is hollow spindle. Okay, so this taper section can be fitted inside the hollow tapered spindle, and on the another side of the spindle you can insert this threaded rod, and that one end of threaded rod can be fixed on the taper section of Arbor. Okay, so it is a here it is a plug with this, and on the another side you can fix it with help of lock nut. Okay, so on this side it is very fixed with this lock nut mechanism inside the spindle, and on the another side yoke is there, and after the yoke you can fix it with help of nut. So these are some instruction to fix the Arbor in the spindle, and on the Arbor you can fix the cutter, and you can adjust the cutter location with help of putting some spacer. Spacers are nothing but a bushes. Okay, so you can place the bushes at the different locations, and you can remove the spacer also, so that you can change the location of cutter also. Okay, here this is one figure in which you can easily see that on the this is Arbor, this is your cutter, this is Arbor support, this is another Arbor support, and these are some spacer. Okay, small types of bush are there. This is called Arbor spacer. This is called bearing. This is milling cutter, and on the another side here spindle is there. So one end is fixed in the spindle, and on the another end one threaded rod is inserted, and it is tightened with the lock nut. Okay, so these are some methods of Arbor installations. If you have any doubt, then please tell me.